This year it seemed to me that the sea trout catches in the river was way below average, and it also seems that its fish in general were smaller. I don't know if this was the case, but at least it was my feeling. This of course doesn't automatically mean that there were actually fewer sea trout in the Mörrum River this season. One plausible explanation could be that there were more salmon than usually and that the bigger salmon helped themselves at the expense of the sea trout. But that's just speculations, and I haven't seen the statistic. But if I just go to myself, I got percentually more salmon than normally. Not really a big sensation, as the sea trout fishing often tends to be best when the light is low, and the most serious sea trout fisherman fishes only in the dark. I personally prefer to fish in daylight, partly because it's easier, but also because it's nice to see what you're up to. When you fish in the dark, you hardly know where you are, you don't see where you place the fly, and if you catch anything, you don't see much of the fish either. So, I mainly go for daylight fishing, even though it means I'm not maximizing my chances of catching a monster sea trout. Well, this was a nice catch though, and the sea trout had no problem finding its way back to freedom. Crazy, that was just like shooting rockets at New Year's Eve. This autumn I had a lot of fun in this pool. I caught some nice salmon and this small sea trout. Not a big catch, but still a catch. And it's always cool when the fish hit the fly. Just over 50 centimeters. The water flow this autumn was very low. In fact, it was low throughout the whole season, and as the temperature was high, I focused on fishing in pools with faster water. Some say that fishing the Mörrum River in low water is boring. I don't agree. Instead I say it's rather interesting, because the low water really gives you a picture of all the potential hotspots in the river, as you can see every single boulder in the shallow water. And with that information stored, you have the key to a successful fishing in the future, regardless the water flow. So, if the water is low in the Mörrum River, our best fishing tips is to fish in the faster pools, partly because it provides more oxygen, and partly because the speed in which the fly is presented always is a big factor fishing for salmonites. And it's keen to get back. It may look as if I'm alone here, but that was not the case. When I arrived this particular morning, there was a guy fishing the pool on my side of the river. He looked like a skilled fisherman, and his wading technique was excellent. In fact, his wading skills were so good that he waded all the way down this current. But he missed the point here and maybe hadn't fished this pool before, because if he's done so, he would have known that the fish are standing very close to the left river bank, just outside the boulders, especially further down where the river is bending. In other words, he literally waded on the fish. Of course, being good at wading could be a big advantage. I myself sadly lack a lot when it comes to wading, but you must choose the right occasion. In low water especially, less wading is more. So, I let the guy fish until he was out of sight before I started my fishing. This turned out to be a good tactic. I caught this beautiful male sea trout and some 20 minutes later a big salmon further down. And no, I didn't wade all the way down. Instead, I walked carefully on the boulders, fishing the pool with short fly cast. So, always try to read the river and consider the alternatives before start fishing a pool. And remember, wading far out is always your last alternative.